Not everyone is filled with joy at the prospect of a new baby. Some people just weren't cut out to be parents. Check out these stories of fathers who refused to face the facts. A 32-year-old man fired on his 8 months pregnant wife, taking her 3 days after she was released on bail in Delhi. Identified only as Wasim, the man is seen on security cam footage standing beside a rock wall as his wife, Shan'ann, sits in a chair in front of him. The two were notorious in the area for the sale of illicit substances. She had just been released from jail only a few days prior, and he had also spent considerable time behind bars. The law isn't the only thing Wasim broke. He also broke the vows of his 1-year-old marriage with a relationship with his sister-in-law, Rahana, while his wife sat in jail. She was released early due to the extent of her pregnancy with twins. Wasim was not there to meet her. After that, the couple's relationship was strained. Witnesses testified to frequent loud disagreements. The video shows Shan'ann sitting quietly in a chair as Wasim stands in front of her, shifting his weight from foot to foot nervously. Without warning, he pulls a gun from behind his back, steps forward a few steps, and begins firing at close range into his wife's face. Shan'ann stands up and takes a few steps, but her husband continues to fire upon her. Even as she falls, he continues. The man can be seen taking his own time to fire about a dozen rounds. People scatter as soon as he begins his attack. Several small children wander in and out of frame as Wasim perpetrated his atrocious act. When he was done, he simply ran away. The video shows bystanders rushing to help his wife and her aide. Both were taken to an area hospital where it was determined they had passed away. A total of 5 bullets were fired, in which 4 bullets hit Shan'ann, while 1 hit Shahadat. Wasim was apprehended and is awaiting trial. Police are investigating the sister-in-law in this situation. In a similar case here in the U.S., a pregnant Chicago probation officer was gunned down on front porch by the baby's father. 39-year-old Corey Deering of Chicago had been charged with 2 first-degree counts pertaining to Stacy Jones and her baby. Police said the relationship between the two had ended before Stacy knew she was pregnant. When she shared the news with Deering, he was not happy and insisted she get rid of it. Stacy told friends that Deering told her she would never live long enough to give birth. Deering was angry because Jones had told mutual friends she planned to hire a private investigator to find out his employment information to begin child support. When police arrived on the scene, neighbors told them a car had been in Stacy's driveway just a few hours before and only stayed a few minutes. The security camera showed it to be a silver SUV. Using tracking technology, the police were able to find the car. The woman who owned it said she had driven Deering to that address earlier and waited in the car until he came back out. She didn't know why they were there or what they were doing. She identified herself as Deering's girlfriend and that she was pregnant. Police apprehended Corey Deering that same day, but had to release him due to a lack of evidence. Stacy Jones was found on her porch unresponsive just after midnight. She was rushed to the hospital and remained in critical condition for some time before passing on. Doctors were able to deliver her baby boy, but he also passed away only 4 days later. He had stayed too long in the womb without adequate oxygen and nutrient flow to the brain. Police said Stacy and Corey met at a ball game. He coached her 2 older sons, and the two started dating, although Deering was already married.
He coached a generation of young football players, the Ogden Park Vikings, for 15 years. That's where he met 35-year-old Cook County probation officer Stacy Jones.
When things went sour, Stacy was ready to call it quits and have her baby alone, but she wanted him to help with expenses. Police were investigating from all angles but had a strong feeling about Deering. Officers on the scene found racial graffiti painted on Stacy's home, seemingly pointing to her ethnicity as a motive. Although investigators pursued every lead, this one was a dead end. Another neighborhood security camera surfaced with footage that finally showed exactly what happened. Stacy opened her door to her ex-love, Corey, and stepped out on the porch. She still had her service gun on her side from her day at work as a probation officer. It offered her no help, however. As soon as she turned her back, Deering took out his gun and discharged it twice into her back. The woman who took Deering to Stacy's house that night told police he was running and out of breath when he got in the car. She told the police that they went to her house and she didn't know what he had done until a few days later. She was not charged in the incident. Police took Deering into custody, and this time he stayed. Deering had no previous police record. These more recent cases are sad reminders of cases like Scott Peterson, who is serving life in San Quentin after taking the of his wife Lacey and their unborn son, Connor. Scott told authorities that he had come home from a day of fishing to find his wife missing. The whole neighborhood took part in the search for pregnant Lacey. In the meantime, Scott was starting a romantic relationship with another woman. He told her he had lost his wife. Lacey and Connor were eventually found in San Francisco Bay. Scott was given a sentence of capital punishment. In 2019, new evidence emerged that the defense believes could clear Scott, and new trials are ahead. In 2018, Chris Watts took the life of his pregnant wife, Shan'ann, and 2 young daughters in their own home. Watts had been having an affair, he told police, and when he admitted to his 15 weeks pregnant wife, she went off the deep end. "You'll never see the kids again," she told him. That's when he put his hands around her and pressed the out of her in their bed. He says he panicked then and loaded her remains into the car with his 2 daughters, Bella and Celeste. He drove his family to a construction site where he worked and smothered his daughters. He took Celeste's life first as Bella looked on. He took her remains and pushed them down into an oil tank on the job site. When he returned for Bella, she asked him not to do to her what he had done to her sister. Watts then smothered his second daughter and pushed her remains into another oil tank. The next day, a sharp-eyed friend noticed shan'ann had missed a few appointments. She alerted police, who immediately wanted to talk to Chris Watts. Investigators talked to Watts several times. They went to the Watts home and questioned him. He seemed nervous when he told investigators that they had been fighting and he didn't know where his wife was. He agreed to take a lie detector test, but when he failed it miserably, he finally confessed. The next day, he took authorities to the remains of his wife and the unborn son she planned to name Nico Lee, and his 2 daughters, Bella and Celeste. He was charged with multiple felony charges and pleaded guilty. He received a sentence of life behind bars without eligibility for parole. Do you think people who harm pregnant women should get a special sentence? What about the baby's father? Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more fresh news. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it.